Welcome to the Meditation Nest, Bedtime Stories for Adults. I'm Beth, your host and narrator. Here, stories become gentle meditations, designed to help your thoughts unwind as you slow the tempo of your life and embrace the night ahead. I invite you to slow your breath, soften your thoughts, and find peace as you drift into rest. This is your time to rest, reflect, and dream. Tonight, I share a tale with you about thresholds, about the almost invisible spaces where something shifts, not with noise or with force, but with quiet recognition. There are moments in life when we find ourselves pressing against something we cannot quite see. A pause, a barrier, a question that lingers longer than we expect. And sometimes, the way forward is not pushing harder, but in noticing what has already been open. Let your breath slow. Let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders relax a little more than they were a moment ago. Tonight's story is called Between Glass and Sky. And as we begin, allow yourself to rest in the space between effort and ease. Are you ready? And we begin. There are moments that arrive as though the world is remembering itself. Before the first car passes, before kettles whistle, before even the birds fully commit to song. Light gathers slowly in those early hours. It doesn't rush. It doesn't announce itself. It simply thins the darkness, brushing along the edges of curtains, pooling quietly across wooden floors. In one such room, a small bird mistook reflection for sky. The house was still. Lavender hung, drying near the window. A stack of books rested neatly on a narrow table. Dust motes hovered in the faint blue of pre-dawn. And there, against the window pane, wings fluttered, soft, urgent, persistent. The bird was no larger than a thumb, feathers the color of river stones and fallen leaves. Its tiny chest rose and fell in quick rhythm, as though the air itself had grown too narrow. Again and again it pressed toward what looked like open air. To the bird, the glass was endless sky. To the sky, the bird was already free. It fluttered upward, down again, side to side, each movement guided by instinct, by the deep knowing that flight belonged to it. The window did not move. The world beyond remained luminous and untouched. Gardens bloomed washed in pale green. The faint outline of trees preparing for light, Inside the room, the bird persisted. There is a kind of determination that comes from believing the path forward must be directly ahead. The small creature did not question its direction. It only tried harder. Its wings beat more quickly now. A tremor ran through its narrow frame. The glass reflected sky so convincingly that it seemed unkind. For a moment, the bird paused. It clung lightly to the thin wooden frame, head tilting as if listening for something beneath its own effort. The first thread of sunrise slipped across the pane, and in that light, the barrier became visible, intact, just exposed. There are times when effort exhausts us, not because we are weak, but because we are facing the wrong direction. The bird shifted, slightly. A draft brushed along the curtain's edge, cool, fragrant with damp earth and distant jasmine. The curtain moved, barely. Behind it, a narrow opening. The window wasn't closed. It had never been fully closed. The bird hovered in place, suspended between urgency and awareness. It didn't rush toward the opening at once. It rested, wings trembling, breath slowing. Stillness, not a surrender, but a recalibration. Outside, the garden held its quiet. Dew clung to rose petals. The horizon lightened from slate to pearl. In the distance, a low morning breeze began to weave through the branches. The bird turned, one tiny adjustment of its body, one tentative flutter. The air shifted differently here. It felt less resistant, less reflective, and then, without ceremony, without spectacle, the bird slipped through the opening. The first beat of open-air flight is rarely smooth. The bird dipped, corrected, tilted slightly left. Its wings remembered what its fear had nearly obscured. The sky quietly expanded. Behind the glass, the room remained unchanged. The lavender still swayed. The books remained stacked. The light continued to gather. But the air felt different, because someone had been watching. A woman sat wrapped in a soft shawl in the corner of the room. She had risen before dawn, unable to sleep through the thin hours when thoughts stretch long. She had heard the fluttering first. She had watched the small bird press and press again against what seemed like endless sky. And she felt and she had felt something in her own chest mirror that rhythm. There are glass panes in every life, invisible ones, polite ones, the kind that look like possibility from one angle and feel like confinement from another. She had been pressing against her own unanswered questions, old regrets, conversations she wished she had spoken differently, paths she believed she should have taken. The bird's persistence had felt familiar, the way effort becomes its own echo, the way hope can sometimes disguise itself as urgency. When the bird paused, she leaned forward. When it noticed the opening, she felt a quiet tinge of recognition. The way forward for her may not be where she had been pushing. She rose quietly and stepped toward the window. By then, the bird was already outside, hovering uncertainly over the garden path. The woman opened the window wider. The air that entered was cool and generous. She left the room to step outside, barefoot. The earth felt damp beneath her feet, moss springing gently back after each step. The scent of jasmine mingled with wet soil. At the edge of the yard, she observed a butterfly testing the air between blossoms. The bird again caught her eye, circling low, its flight imperfect. It wobbled. It recalibrated. It found a current of air rising from the garden's warmth. And then it lifted higher, steadier. Its wings didn't grow stronger in that moment. They simply aligned with what had always been there. The bird, having risen above the garden, circled once more with deliberate grace. It spiraled downward, landing lightly on a slender branch just beyond the window's reach. For a few brief moments, it watched the woman as she stood barefoot in the dew, her gaze steady and soft. The air between them felt charged with recognition, neither hurried nor hesitant. Then, as if the pause had offered some silent understanding, the bird lifted off the branch, wings unfurling, and soared again toward the widened sky. The woman watched as the bird became smaller against the widening blue. She thought of all the times she had pressed against her own reflections, times she believed she had failed, times she believed it was too late, times she believed the sky had narrowed around her. And yet, here she stood, breathing. Here she stood, beneath the same sky the bird now rode. The sky doesn't close. It waits. She moved slowly through the garden, fingertips brushing tall grass. Dew dampened the hem of her nightdress. She paused beside a small pond whose surface reflected morning light like softened glass. Her reflection shimmered. She understood then that the glass in her life had often been made of assumption, of expectation, of urgency that masked itself as determination. She had mistaken reflection for reality. The bird's flight was not triumph. It was participation. It didn't conquer the sky. It joined it. There is a space between glass and sky. It is thinner than we think. It asks for awareness more than force. The woman closed her eyes and listened. The hum of waking insects, the hush of wind through branches, the faintest echo of wings in the distance. She felt something in herself expand. In that moment, she realized that the day would still carry its demands. The conversations would still wait. The questions would not disappear. But she no longer felt pressed against them. She felt turned toward the opening. She looked once more for the bird. She found it again, circling over a neighbor's oak tree. The bird was almost a silhouette now against the widening gold of morning. For a brief moment, it seemed to hover in place, held effortlessly by a current invisible to the eye. The woman inhaled, exhaled. The air supported her too. A gentle breeze brushed against her arms, carrying the faint, briny tang of distant rain. She allowed herself the opportunity to gaze at the cloud cover to the north, noticed the soft tickle of grass against her ankles, and the subtle, pulsing chorus of crickets hidden in the underbrush. The warmth of the rising sun touched her face, slowly dissolving the last cool shadows of night. Surrounded by these quiet sensations, the earth's damp coolness, the perfume of jasmine at the edge of her garden, and the tranquil breath of morning, she felt herself anchoring deeply into the present. Each inhale seemed to root her more firmly to the ground, her worries loosening like dew lifting from the grass. In this stillness, She felt unmistakably here, steady and at peace. She returned inside only when the sun had fully crested the trees. The room felt unchanged, yet gentler. The window remained open. Light spilled across the wooden floor in soft patterns. She folded her shawl and placed it neatly on the chair. As the morning deepened, the woman found herself drawn back to the garden, allowing herself to be guided not by the weight of expectation, but by the gentle invitation of curiosity. She knelt to trace her finger along the pattern left by a snail in the dew, marveling at the quiet persistence winding through even the smallest lives. Each moment felt like a new pane of glass, cleaner now, revealing not what she must do, but what she might notice if she chose to look more closely. With each step, she found herself more attuned to the language of her outdoor haven. The way the breeze answered the rustling leaves, the soft creak of a distant fence, the subtle changes as time moved forward and the day's song brought new voices of life to be appreciated. In this space, possibility felt as present as the sunlight slowly unfurling across the grass. She thought not of obstacles, but of invitations, openings she had overlooked before. The day waited, patient and wide, and she moved forward gently, ready to meet it, awake to what might unfold. As she returned inside, she pondered about how one bird had shifted her entire day, how one open window made way to the wonder of what the day held for her. There would be other window panes in her life, other reflections, other mornings when she might forget. But somewhere in her bones, she would remember. Flight begins with turning. Freedom is often found in noticing. And the sky has been open all along. The end. As you rest tonight, consider the quiet pains you may have been pressing against. The places where effort has felt necessary. The spaces where urgency has whispered that pushing harder is the only way forward. Now imagine yourself pausing, not giving up, simply softening. Notice that subtle draft along the curtain's edge, the nearly invisible opening, the minor adjustment of perspective that changes everything. You don't need to conquer the sky. You are already beneath it. Let your breath move easily now. Let your body settle into the support beneath you. Like the small bird at dawn, you are allowed to recalibrate. You are allowed to turn gently toward what has been open all along. The air will hold you. Rest in that. Good night. As this episode comes to a gentle close and the world outside grows quiet, may you find comfort within your own meditation nest. Let your mind settle softly. May tranquility wrap around you, inviting deep rest and serene dreams until dawn. If you'd like to help keep the meditation nest aglow, please consider buying me a cup of coffee by visiting ko-fi.com/BethPodcast. Every small kindness helps the light travel a little further. You can also access a free weekly blog on substack.com. Check the show notes for links. Until we meet again, rest in the quiet knowing that you are safely held by the night.